Welcome to Strategic Insights Radio, brought to you by Sterling Rusz Consulting Corp. If your dream is to start a business or nonprofit or grow your existing enterprise, then Sterling Rusz Consulting Corp is ready to help make it happen. Our business, marketing, and technology consulting services gets you started with financial projections, management consulting, business planning, accounting, and taxes, developing marketing plans and implementing them, growing your market through branding, website development, and social media management, increasing productivity with process improvement and automation, and selecting and using the right technology with our business technology strategy consulting and Zoho customization and implementation services. Our host for the show is Jennifer Rusz, the CEO and owner of Sterling Rusz Consulting Corp. Jennifer?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. It's been a crazy week.
To say the least. I have a feeling I know what you're going to talk about today. Why don't you tell the audience?
Yeah, so I was actually going to have a really great guest today, and prior to the show, he contacted me to let me know that he actually is positive for the coronavirus.
What? A corona? I hadn't heard anything about that.
I'm sure you haven't.
Yeah.
It's been crazy this week with the coronavirus, actually. But he is actually stuck in Florida, and he cannot get back up here. He's in quarantine, and he will be unable to attend the show. So I decided we'd talk a little bit about coronavirus and how it actually is affecting small businesses out there today.
Because at this point, it is. There's a lot of worried folks right now. Small business owners are concerned, and they're not sure what to do.
Well, it's more than the concern about the health factors of it, right? It's also a concern of one thing.
You're living.
Yeah, your whole entire living. So you've got all these major corporations, including all these athletic teams, and as of about a half hour ago, it's now the NHL, the NBA, the NCAA has changed, and they're only going to do March Madness with no people. But soccer, baseball, hockey, and basketball are all canceling their entire seasons.
It got real.
It got real.
Yeah.
So you're talking about every single small vendor that was approved is no longer going to work.
Well, speaking of small business, though, isn't it in Italy, unless you're a grocery store or a pharmacy,
you're done.
You've been told by the government you need to shut down.
That's correct. You have completely got to shut down. But even beyond that, talk about the U.S. market, right? You have all of these U.S. providers, small businesses especially, that went to one distributor in China. And that's where they get all their goods. And even though you tell them a million times over, you need multiple distributors, you need to diversify, they go after the cheapest one, the least expensive offering. And there they are in China, and now they're running out of product. And there's no way for them to get any additional product because the big guys had those same contracts too, but they're big enough to go to the U.S. market and actually get exclusive agreements to the U.S. manufacturers. So there they are.
So we're not worried about the big guys. We're here to talk about the little ones.
No, even the big guys are going to have a real issue because all of those big manufacturers moved all of their stuff overseas to Korea, South America, even Europe. And now Trump came on and said that they're halting all travel between Europe and U.S. So there's no way to even get product over here from Europe, let alone China. So you've got no place allowing anything to come over to the U.S. And for the first time ever, where the U.S. has always, in the last 2, 3, 4 decades, right, has been moving all their manufacturing overseas. And so now it's going to be a ramp-up period because a lot of these players are going to have to actually start building manufacturing plants back in the U.S., which is going to open up a whole nother level of employment for people in opportunity, but there's going to be a big ramp up for it. But small business is going to get hit hard right now.
All right, well, I'll tee up the question then. I'm a small business owner. How concerned should I be? How is this going to affect my business?
Well, for one thing, you already are sitting there spraying everything that you own for every person that comes here. As this gets worse and worse, less people are going to want to do live show. You're going to have a lot more call-in.
Oh, now you're getting too close to home. You're actually talking about my business.
You asked me to.
I didn't ask you about my business. I just said small business in general. You're scaring me now.
But I mean, and that's a normal thing that's going on with all small businesses right now. For the first time ever, they're seriously looking at video conferencing. It's keeping people away from their offices, ending sponsorship events, any kind of gathering that's happening is ending. That they're doing things like having their staff stay at home rather than come in and actually do webinars, teleconferencing. I have a couple doctor's offices, dentist office, dermatologists are adding telemedicine to their offering right now. I have 2 psychologists that I just set up on telepsychology programs because their patients don't want to come in physically. I mean, these is just to maintain their small business so they can continue to work, but they're not physically there. So there's going to be a lot of that, and that's going to be an effect on your business too. As this gets worse, which there is a potential of it happening, as things get tested, less and less people are going to want to physically come in for things. So you're going to be going a lot more on video and audio conferencing for your shows.
You know, you're seeing things like the stock market going down, and people are starting. I've been told, and I've been advised, hold on to your money right now. Don't spend, because you may need to have some in reserves for a while because business could be suffering for a while.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, with all this going on, what would be your advice to small business owners?
Cash is still king. Right now, if you were looking to expand previously, don't hold on to the money. Halt the expansion programs that you're trying to do. Investment is going to get tight. Money is going to get tight. The banks are going to get tight, especially with the dip in the stock market that's happening right now until things get corrected, because right down the line, we're going to have some issues with, as I said, retailers are not going to have product. Things that are, import-export is going to be damaged. There's going to be a lot of issues with distribution. Ports are going to be hit hard. Flights are already being hit hard. Travel is already being killed. So all those places that normally would make money from all the travelers that come in, especially as we get, look at this, the first time in history, right? St. Patty's Day Parade is canceled in Boston. When has that ever happened? Right? These are huge, huge money-making events that are being canceled. NCAA. This is March Madness. The playoffs. Done. You have all these major events that are not going to generate all this extra money for the local businesses that surround them. And this is places that look forward to a whole year knowing that event is going to happen there. And they're not having anybody show up. So all of that money that they spent to promote for it, all of the marketing dollars that went to it, all the extra product they picked up for it, is all going to go to waste. It's going to be huge inventory issues for those.
And the Final Four this year is supposed to be here in Atlanta.
I know. It's supposed to be Mercedes.
Hotels, restaurants. You mentioned the airlines, limo services. It goes far-reaching and very deep. Yeah,
everyone from, I know it sounds funny, but someone comes to town and they buy a magnet at a little shop. And they're expected, because that little shop was waiting for them because they knew they would come here and buy a token for their kid to bring home afterwards. And they're not going to, because they're not going to come. All of the hotels, all of the restaurants, all the bars, not
only they're not going to come, they can't come. They've been told not to come.
Correct.
They've been told you're not going to be allowed in the arena.
Correct.
Now, the Final Four is still a couple weeks from today's date of while we're doing this podcast. There's time to maybe change your mind, but it, like you say, it looks like it may get worse before it gets better.
I don't know if... So with the Final Four, I don't know what's going to happen with that. No one really does yet. But, the fact that from this time, most of the major league teams out there are literally just halting all play for the year.
Right. Well, the PGA, they're playing their event this weekend. They said they're continuing. Major League Baseball, they open their season in a couple weeks.
No, they do not.
Did they make an announcement today?
Today, the announcement 2 hours ago. Major League Baseball is halted for the entire season.
Spring training right now?
All gone. They have just shut down the doors and for further notice. Soccer announced about an hour ago as well.
I've been here in the studio all day, so this is all news to me.
And a few minutes before I walked in the door, NHL announced that they are not going to open the hockey season.
Yeah. Once the NBA, kind of led the way. I knew the NHL and other leagues would follow.
Well, the NBA was supposed to be play without any other teams around, or any
without
other
fans,
without any
until
fans
one
around.
of their own players.
Correct. And you saw what he did. That was ridiculous. Oh, you didn't see?
What did he do?
Oh,
The player with Utah that was
that actually had
right?
the virus. He touched all the mics and everything on purpose afterwards on video. It was ridiculous. But it's all over the internet. Yeah. So who knows what that's going to do. But all of those, as I said, what really is the major effect of all that is you've got all the news services. You've got all the people all the travel plans, all of the cruises, all of the trips people were going to take because the holidays are coming up. All of the spring break. I
mean, the most similar thing that I remember was right after 9/11 when business just shut down. People were afraid to spend money, and I know it hurt my business at the time. And this is the closest thing to that.
This is bigger than that by far.
Right.
That there was still a lot of businesses that it didn't affect, ironically. There were a lot of things that didn't shut down. Like telecom did very well after that.
You're still going out to eat at the restaurant. You're still going to movies.
You still went to actually one of the biggest things that were a big part of healing from it were baseball games and things like that. There were events that they were hosting to support what was happening. Here you're talking about literally segregating everybody, trying to stay away from everyone.
Because after 9/11, baseball, Major League Baseball, they shut down for a week or so, but then they were back up. Here, you're looking at weeks, if not a month or months.
Well, right now they've shut down the entire season as of earlier today, and you're not talking just baseball. You're talking every sport.
So let's get back to small business, Jennifer.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the corner here because you asked me about me. I'm going to ask you about you because Sterling Rusz Consulting Corp, you do business plans and you do marketing for a lot of companies.
Yep.
How is this affecting your business right now? I mean, it's only been really a couple days. I mean, President Trump came on, made his announcement just the other night. All of a sudden, just in the last 24 hours, it's gotten big. NBA, NHL, all this stuff has all happened in the last 24 hours. Have you seen any changes in your business already?
Yes. A lot of clients calling me and actually clients of their clients calling me to figure out how to change their strategy for this year, to figure out how to diversify and get contracts in for multiple distributors before the next big guy shuts them out. I've had a lot of calls from clients who we originally did some marketing or were about to do marketing for an event and rather helping them to set up teleconferencing systems and new strategies for their human resource systems to make sure that they could actually have their employees work from home and how that would all work and play out, consulting on financial growth and how to keep their money rather than spend it right now. We've had a lot of calls on reworking their entire progressive strategies from a financial standpoint and a strategic standpoint.
It's almost, if you're a business, you now need to market yourself that you're open.
Correct.
I mean, it's always assumed that you're open. Now people aren't so sure.
And how to get your product and your services without actually showing up. And how to market that out. And what avenues are going to market that out. One of the really cool things is for your business, you're going to do really well in one respect. Podcasts are going to do extraordinarily well.
Because we can do these remotely.
You got it. You can do it remotely. No one has to show up. You can call in. And no one has to physically be here to hear it. So there are going to be all these venues, all these theaters, all these different things that people can't attend. So they're going to look for digital radio, regular radio, Amazon, Alexa, whatever, but they're going to be pulling things to keep themselves entertained at home. And podcasts and digital radio is going to take off like crazy.
As if it already hasn't been anyway.
True. It's been very popular already, but it's going to be even more so because you've got people who literally cannot go into the office.
Well, let me ask you this now. I'm a small business leader because I'm not as worried about the big guys. The big guys are going to survive. I think we can agree for the most part.
Some will, some won't now. You're going to be surprised. There'll be ones that literally will not survive this.
All right. Well, this will be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Well, think about it. You've got all those big businesses, say in Italy, right? All the big businesses that just were told by the government they can't be in business. they have to shut their doors, but yet they still have to pay their bills. They're not going to make it through this either.
What do you say to the small business owner? Because since that's mostly our audience now,
Yep.
the small business owner, the entrepreneur, to quell his fears. What can you say?
So,
The one that's on the ledge right now, ready to jump. What do you tell them?
don't jump. Actually, you're in a better place than you think. So as a small business owner, you are more flexible. You can make changes to your strategy that can actually help you grow. All right? There are ways to make this work. Now, if you are a restaurant, yeah, it's going to be a hit. There'll be less people coming to your doors, but increase the marketing around delivery service to your place. And offer the option of deliver it to the door. You don't have to answer the door. So there's no, I'm serious. Things like that the drivers will wear gloves when picking up and delivering. Things like that are going to be a big deal. I mean, yes, you'll have less people in, so less entertainment and less overhead, actually. Think of it that way. Think of it as, yes, maybe things like your alcohol sales may be down a bit, but your food sales will go back up because a lot of people are not going to be able to get to the stores because the stores aren't going to have a lot of things in them from the supermarket standpoint. So you can actually promote the fact that you have specials and you have regular things. You'll do regular deliveries.
In your opinion, how long do you think this is going to last?
Honestly, that I have no idea. But what you can say is that right now they're saying the quarantine period is a month if you are actually positive. So being quarantined even in your home for a month is a long period of time. And not being able to go out to get groceries or anything else, you got to have another option.
Domino's.
Well, Domino's is a little harder, but I mean, seriously, options for restaurants to provide services for coronavirus, deliver it to the door and that's it.
Well, all joking aside, I guess a pizza delivery place like a Domino's, they may experience growth.
That's what I'm talking about.
Sales.
A lot of the restaurants will have a lot more delivery service, a lot more cater service. So make sure that's built back into your offering. Redo your strategy, in all honesty. Be prepared for a bit of a slump, and especially initially to get things rolling on it. Stop whatever sponsorship marketing that you may have thought about doing for the next quarter in live events, only because chances are there won't be a live event.
Spend that money in podcasting, right?
Hey, why not? It's not a bad idea, honestly. Spend the money on making sure that you are going back inside of the house. In other words, the marketing dollars are going to be less about the networking and more about radio, television, podcast, Alexa, iHeartRadio, Netflix, Hulu, all the things people are going to be watching and listening to because they are going to be stuck in their homes. And the ones that aren't stuck in their homes, chances are they're still going to stay in their homes because every person I've been in contact with or been around, nobody's shaking hands anymore. We're staying away from each other. If someone has a cough, you run the other way. I've still attended a few different events, but a couple of the events I've been to have been almost empty. I mean, a normal thing that would have 400 or 500 people had 30 last night. There's a whole bunch of things that are just going to be a little different. And will have different effects and different structures to it. And yeah, anything that's over what they're saying on the news right now is any event over 250 people is basically canceled or to cancel those events.
Yeah.
So you're looking at these huge events that are just not going to be covered, and everything that was bought for those events had already been purchased. And all of those companies are going to be hit hard. So there's going to be a lot of backlash, especially initially. But from a small business standpoint, there is a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of things that you can do and a lot of ways to look at your structure. But look at it now, at the beginning. Figure out where you are monetarily. Hold on to that cash if you can. And definitely strategically look at the next, what if this lasts for the next 6 months? How do you change your business model to support that you will have less human beings actually coming into your locations? What do you do, and how do you strategically put yourself in a position from a marketing standpoint, a salary standpoint, a human resource standpoint, a personnel, and a monetary standpoint, as well as a product and service standpoint? What do you need to change so that you don't have to fire anyone? What pieces do you need to put in place to do that? What changes right now? And think very strategically about it, because this was inevitable. Pandemics were inevitable. We've been watching television shows about them for the last 30 years and not taking it seriously. This is the biggest thing since what? The influenza in 1912?
Right. Which, by the way, did cancel, I think, being a hockey fan, the NHL Stanley Cup, playoffs were canceled. So, I mean, there have been playoff seasons that have been canceled before. This is not a first time. Just for many of us, first in our lifetime.
Correct.
Possibly, perhaps only one in our lifetime.
And didn't Warren Buffett come on yesterday and say this is the first time in his lifetime anything like this has happened? And he's lived a long life.
He's a little older than us.
Exactly.
Yes. Wow. This is Strategic Insights Radio, and you're listening to Jennifer Rusz, the CEO and president of Sterling Rusz Consulting Corp., talking about the effects of the coronavirus pandemic right now that is sweeping the country and the world, and how it's affecting specifically businesses.
Yeah.
As we get closer to the end of the show, Jennifer, what other advice or notes do you want to share?
Follow what the CDC is saying. Just keep washing your hands. Keep yourself at a distance. If you feel like you're getting sick at all, don't wait. Just go straight to the doctor and get tested. But there is an ironic side of all this too. There was a study that done recently in Alabama, and it says that parts of Alabama are healthier than they've ever been before. There are less influenza, less pink eye, and bronchitis, because people are taking the precautions that the CDC have asked them to, with washing their hands extra, covering their mouths when they cough, because they're afraid of the coronavirus.
Things that people should be doing anyway.
Correct.
But now, yes.
But they actually are down something like, I think it said like 30 or 40% better than they have been year over year. So for things like that, just keep it up. But again, if you start feeling sick or anything like that, don't push it. Don't wait. Don't play the I'm fine card.
And I wanted to address one thing. For those people out there that are saying, listen, this is overreaction, this is not really, it's all a media hype and so forth. The fact of the matter is, even if it is media hype, and we're not saying it is, businesses are being affected because people are taking precautions. They are not going out. So it is affecting business. It's real in that regard.
Correct. Whether it is media scare or not, and I won't say it is or isn't, but whether it is or is not, it is affecting everyone in a different way. And from a business standpoint, your numbers are going to be down. Money is going to be tight. Banks are going to be on edge. The Dow is going down. Their stocks are plummeting. It
is a good time to buy, though.
Not yet.
Because it's still going to go down.
I have a feeling it's still going to go down.
I've heard a lot of experts believe that, yes. That's the case, yes.
But at the same token, you're going to see the biggest drop since the recession that's going on right now. And the reality is your businesses are going to be affected. Import and export is stopping. You are not going to have product in the U.S. that has been a part of that import-export. So be aware that whether you believe it's hype or not, it's real. It's a real scare. It's really happening to your business. And whether you're in business or not and listening to this, the reality is if you're a consumer, it's going to affect you directly too. You are not going to be able to buy product or services. So be aware. It's going to affect you. Not to mention, it's going to be really, really rough watching TV this year because there's going to be nothing on.
Well, for the sports fan, it's going to be rough as well.
Exactly.
All right. Well, any parting words on top of that?
Just be careful. Follow.
And if you think maybe you're overreact, it's better to over-prepare, I guess, than underprepare. I can't find the right word.
Well, I mean, don't build a bunker in your backyard and
Right.
stock up for the next year. I think that's
But
overkill.
being overly cautious is probably not a bad idea. There's nothing wrong with being overly cautious.
No, I mean, washing your hands after shaking someone's hand. Wash hands before you eat, after you eat. I mean, yeah, those are things you should be doing anyway. And
Right, but
just
if you're,
keep doing them.
If you're one not to maybe use the sanitizer in your hands all day long and you decide I'm going to use it now every hour, that's fine. Be overly cautious.
Yeah, be overly cautious. Cover your mouth if you're around people, if that's what makes you feel more comfortable. But yeah, I mean, don't go nuts. Don't be crazy and run the other way when a person walks up to you.
Unless they're coughing. And
That's true.
hacking
Then
and-
maybe
Yeah.
maybe should. But at this point, I mean,
Still live your life
Yeah.
as best you can.
seriously.
But just be wary and take into consideration some of the ideas and plans that you have kind of already set forth in this show.
And yes,
Don't go on a spending spree right now. Don't go buy that big investment you were looking at buying.
yeah, because at the end of the day, I don't know how good that's going to be from an investment standpoint. But then again, it might be a perfect time because cash is king. If you've got the cash and the market goes down, it is usually the best time to buy.
If folks want to reach out to you, a small business owner wants to get some of your insight and advice, what's the best way to find out more about Sterling Rusz Consulting Corp?
So we can set up a web call or a real call. It's up to you, or in person for right now. But we can always do a webinar as well. And you can give me a call at 470-202-8659. Or you can actually reach out by going to info@sterlingroseconsultingcorp.com.
All right, a reminder, you're listening to Strategic Insights Radio. It's available on Business RadioX. You can go there 24/7 and click on the Gwinnett Studio and click on Strategic Insights Radio, and you can hear this episode or all previous, 5 years worth of episodes there on the website. Also, this show is available on your favorite podcast app, including iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, you name it, it's out there as well. So, for Jennifer Rusz, I'm Mike Salmon. You've been listening to Strategic Insights Radio here on Business Radio X.